Salve te. We are starting lesson 14. We've skipped over some lines summarized here. Moved by the prayer of Iarbas, that's where we left off last. Jupiter sends Mercury to Aeneas to remind him of his high destiny and his duty to his son Ascanius. Mercury then hastens from Olympus to Carthage. So we're going to pick up the story as Mercury touches down in Carthage and sees Aeneas doing some stuff he should not be doing. Let's continue. Ut prima latis tetigit magalia plantis, Aenean fundamentarque sactecta novantem conspicit, aquilli stellatus iaspide fulva inciserat, tirio cordebad murice laina, de mis exumeris dives quae munera dido fecerat, et tenuit tellas discreverat auro. Ut primum, translate this as soon as, he tetigit. Now the he is Mercury, so we got to put in this as our subject, Mercurius. As we were talking about him before, but since we skipped the lines, we missed that. So as soon as he, tetigit, touches, or touched, the Magalia, the huts of Carthage. And how did he touch them? Alatis plantis, with his winged heels. Heels meaning feet. He conspicit, he sees Aeneas, Aenean, Greek accusative with the N, fundantem, establishing, so let's go together, arches, this is accusative, that's what he's establishing. Now that arches, the citadels, this is the object of this present active participle, fundantem, from fundo, fundere. So he, Mercury, the subject, sees Aeneas, an accusative, establishing, modifying Aeneas, also accusative, citadels. This is the accusative of this participle. This participle takes an object. And novantem, another present active participle, so also modifying Aeneas, and making or renewing, think of our word in English, renovation, to make something new or to build it. Building tecta, dwellings. And then ak, of course, is and. So one more time I'll go through this. As soon as Mercury, understood, touched the huts of Carthage, with his winged heels, he sees Aeneas founding cities or citadels and making dwellings or structures. Remember, a tectum is just a roof, so this is roofs, this is synecdoche, a part for a whole, and so we understand that it's a building if we say a roof. Aquilli stellatus iaspide fulva inciserat. And there was to him, now this is a dative, illi is a dative, to him, to that one. And that one is referring to Aeneas. The antecedent is back here at Aeneas, right? Aeneas is not dative, but it's referring back there. Sorry, that got really messy right there. Let's just take that out of there. Illi comes from illa illud, and you might want to review that declension if you forget that when it ends in an I, it's a dative singular. Ius is genitive singular for a number of special pronouns, and illi is dative singular for a number of special pronouns in all the genders. So it's good to know this is dative. And there was to him, this is a dative of possession. It's the same way as saying Aeneas had. There was to him a sword, an incis. So that's the subject. Stellatus, studded. And how was it studded? It was studded jaspide fulva, with tawny or yellow jasper stone. This is a semi-precious stone, and it's yellow in color. It can be lots of different colors, but in this case it's yellow in color. Now it doesn't mean the whole sword is studded, as far reminds us it's just the hilt of the sword, the handle part of the sword. So one more time. And there was to him a sword studded with tawny or yellow jasper. And this is a sword that Dido gave to Aeneas, as we're going to learn in the next portion of this sentence. I've talked about the dative of possession before, but just a quick reminder. Just like you could say Aeneas habet ensem, you could also say erat ensis Aenei. He has a sword, or there is a sword to him. It means the same thing. Think of nomen est mihi. It means habeo nomen. There is a name to me, means I have a name. Tyrio quardebat murice laina de mis sex humeris, dives quae munera dido fecerat, et tenuit telas discreverat auro. And a laina, a robe, that's a subject, de missa exhumeris, sent down exhumeris ablative from his shoulders, meaning draped around his shoulders, literally sent down, de missa, from de mito, de mitere, and that's a perfect passive participle there, de missa. And think there was to him also a robe, or a cloak, sent down from his soldiers, which ardebat, a cloak was burning, meaning shining. This is the subject of Laina. And a cloak shining with murice Tyrio, or Tyrio murice, with Tyrian purple. The cities of Tyre and Sidon of the Phoenicians were known for having a special purple dye that was made from little shrimp that they harvested from the area, and they crushed to create this purple dye. So Tyrian purple is an expression of this color purple that comes from this region. And it's Tyrian because, remember, Dido's Phoenician, so she would have this kind of stuff. And the Romans would be aware of this Tyrian purple. So one more time. And there was to him a sword studded, starred literally, with yellow jasper, and a cloak to him, understood also, burned or shined with, was shining with Tyrian purple. This cloak sent down from his shoulders, or draped around his shoulders, is what we understand there. Dives quae munera dido fecerat, et tenuitelas discreverat auro. Discreverat auro. So this last part is a relative clause, which the quae starts. So we're going to bracket it off like that. Translate like this. Quae munera, what gifts, dives dido, rich Dido, had made. Now, dives dido is the subject, so double underline it. Rich Dido means gifts that Dido had made out of her wealth, but rich Dido is how Vergil phrases this. And which gifts? Quae munera, those are accusatives. Now, munera is neuter plural, from munus, muneris, which means a service or a gift. And quae, I believe that relative pronoun goes with munera. It refers, really, to the laina here, laina, and then it also refers, most likely, to the ensis. These are both the gifts that Dido made. But I think the quae is neuter, along with the munera, neuter. So we'll translate which gifts rich Dido fecerat had made, meaning to Aeneas. This last part here, et tenui telas discreverat auro. And she, still the subject is Dido, she had discreverat, separated the webs, meaning the threads of this lina up here. So in this part we're talking about this lina specifically. And she had separated the webs or the threads with tenui auro. Now this is an ablative. How did she separate it? Tenui auro, with thin or delicate gold. So the idea here is that in this cloak, that's Tyrian purple, sections of it have been separated or embroidered with gold thread. So it's a very lavish gift, very fancy looking cloak here. Aeneas is looking like a Tyrian king with his purple and gold cloak that Dido has given him. In our next video, Mercury's going to address Aeneas, speak to him, and this scene that we've set up here is going to give us some context for how he addresses him, because Mercury not only has seen Aeneas building this new Carthage, or this Carthage, when he should be building Rome, he's also dressed as a Tyrian in this purple robe that Dido's given him, and the whole scene is just really what Aeneas is not supposed to be doing. So we'll pick it up in the next video with Mercury's little speech to Aeneas. Wale.